Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah, I said it. We are not African. That is the problem. That is why Africans feel so comfortable coming in and infiltrating black spaces like Essence Fest, because they think we all one and the same, one band, one sound. No, 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 no. We are natural born American citizens. We've been here for 4 or 5 centuries, 400 years plus, and we still not identifying as Americans?
Stop falling for the trap. The African versus Black American beef is fake and it's funded, and it's nowhere in real life. What's actually happening is we're being attacked by white people, white supremacists that run the state. We are being attacked by the American government, we're being attacked by European nations, and we're being divided by the people they're paying online. A lot of them look like us.
I remember that too. Oh my God. On movies, on TV shows. You know, in the late 1960s and early 1970s, there was an out of Africa movement. And coincidentally, around the same time, there was a burst of new black artists in the movie scenes, on the music circuit, that promoted these same values.
Welcome back, family. Before we get into today's heated topic, I want to give a big shout out to all our amazing subscribers. You're the heartbeat of this channel. I see your comments, your shares, and your likes, and trust me, they mean the world. And to our new viewers, welcome to the conversation. This is the place where we don't just watch events unfold, we break them down, dissect them, and call them exactly what they are. Today's story is one that's been setting social media on fire. A cultural clash that's not only trending, but is exposing deep cracks in what many thought was a united black identity. I'm talking about the recent face-off between the so-called foundational black Americans and Africans on social media. What started as a few tweets has now grown into a full-blown war of words, and the internet is eating it up. But this isn't just about online arguments. It's about history, identity, pride, and the complicated love-hate relationship between African Americans and African immigrants. It's about whether a shared skin color is enough to guarantee solidarity, or if lived experiences, culture, and history make that bond much more fragile than we thought. And yes, to the brilliant video creators, meme makers, and commentators whose clips I'll be showing throughout today's breakdown, your work is powerful, it's engaging, and it's exactly the reason why these conversations are getting so much attention. Credit where credit is due. You're the real culture documenters.
Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah, I said it. We are not African. That is the problem. That is why Africans feel so comfortable coming in and infiltrating black spaces like Essence Fest, because they think we all one and the same, one band, one sound. No, 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 no. We are natural born American citizens. We've been here for 4 or 5 centuries, 400 years plus, and we still not identifying as Americans. We're not Africans. That's why they come over here and they feel so comfortable with disrespecting us, because they think they super Africans, right? And we the little peon Africans because they got the direct source of the motherland and they know where they come from and they roots and all that stuff. Of course you do. 1 generation ago, you got here yesterday. You are the true African American Africans. Y'all come here from Ghana, from Senegal, from wherever, Ethiopia, whatever. Y'all come here and you get your citizenship or plant your roots, whatever. You're Africans - Americans, African Americans. Black Americans are not Africans. I don't have no Africans in my family, period. I'm from California. My dad is from California. My grandma's from Wichita, Kansas. My great-grandma's from Wichita, Kansas. I can go back generations of Americans. That is where the confusion is coming from. And then people come from different countries and they come in our home, our house. This is our house. Yeah, the other half of our house might try to make us uncomfortable. The whites, they want to make us uncomfortable in our house. We all share in the same house. But at the end of the day, this is still our house. We're the visitors. The visitors are coming here and treating us like we less than. We can change the narrative. It's our storyline. We keep letting other people write our storyline and then get mad at the story. There's too many of us to not be creating our own narrative. Let's change the narrative, okay? Take back the pride in what it means to be a black American. Start highlighting our successes as a group of people, our successes, our contributions to America as a whole. Highlight that instead of hyper fixating on slavery. Let's let that storyline kind of simmer down a little bit and focus on the inventions and the contributions that black people make today and have made for the past 4 or 5 centuries while we've been in America, and start to elevate as a people. Stop letting people push us down with their own narratives and start writing our own story to elevate us as a people in our home. This is our house, not theirs. This is our home. We are natural born American citizens, and don't let nobody tell you different.
Black Americans, stop claiming cultures that aren't yours. This is for those who look down on Africans, call themselves FBA, Foundational Black Americans, and insist they are not African. Braiding is not your original culture. So telling white women or anyone else that they can't wear braids is hypocritical. Hair braiding has a history that spans thousands of years, and its roots are firmly planted in ancient Africa, the motherland. Braiding was first recorded in Africa and used to communicate tribal identity, status, and heritage. Yes, Africa is the birthplace of most traditional braiding styles, but other cultures also have their own rich braiding traditions. Native Americans, the Chinese, Indians, Nordic and Celtic people, Asian, Greek, and Romans, Afro-Colombia, and more. Braiding is global. There is no clear historical record showing that Black Americans developed their own distinct braiding traditions before reconnecting with African styles. Or are you confusing Black Americans with African Americans? Because many of you say you're not African.
Why is it that Black Americans hate Africans?
I don't know. Like, from what I've heard, I guess annoyance that they feel like Black Africans come to the country and they're given preferential treatment because there's this sort of belief that, you know, we work harder and we do this and but therefore we're like the good model minority.
Yeah.
Which in turn makes them look bad.
Yeah.
And that even though, I mean, the FDA and the ADOS lot, they say that they can distinguish who's Black American and who's African.
And I can't.
They say that there's like so many different, like, you know, you can easily distinguish and all that, which I think is a whole load of cap. There may be some truths to it. Like, at the end of the day, we know how white supremacy works, right?
Yeah.
And it does absolutely get off on causing division. That's how it's always been. And it's just unfortunate that people are actually buying into it, but they're mad at the wrong people. I just feel like the energy is completely misdirected. And like, even if those differences are there, 'cause I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt and say that there's some element of truth to that. Who is responsible for that?
We need more honesty about the misinformation that's been put towards both of us, because when we've had this discussion multiple times, it's not often we get Black American honesty about the negative stereotypes they have. I say it, we say it, but they're like, no, we were open arms and welcoming. There was definitely negative stereotypes of immigrant Blacks perpetuated by Black Americans. So you can say that you're welcoming, but were you? And similarly, what was projected into into Africa and the Caribbean about Black Americans. Just be really honest about the propaganda that happened, and then we can get to honest dialogue.
So here's what went down. The spark for this latest wave of conflict came when influential voices within the FBA community, the group that identifies as Foundational Black Americans, descendants of U.S. slavery, began once again declaring that their heritage, struggle, and political priorities are separate from those of African immigrants. They've been making it clear that while they respect African cultures, they reject being grouped together as a single community for political or reparations purposes. That stance didn't sit well with Africans online. Almost immediately, African Twitter and TikTok lit up with clapbacks, memes, and videos. Many Africans accuse the FBA community of erasing centuries of Pan-African solidarity, pointing to historical moments when African independence movements and African-American civil rights struggles fed off each other's momentum. But this time, the pushback wasn't all history lessons. Africans came with sharp wit, sarcasm, and even some mocking commentary about what they see as American ignorance of Africa, from geography to culture. They also pointed out that African immigrants often outperform native-born Americans in education and earnings, and suggested that the disdain from some FBAs might actually be rooted in envy. The FBA side wasn't about to let that slide. Their response? A flood of posts arguing that African immigrants sometimes come to America and look down on Black Americans, buying into stereotypes pushed by mainstream society. They argued that the two groups don't share the same oppression narrative and therefore should not be treated as one political bloc. This has now become an online battleground. You've got reaction videos, duets, live debates, and even multi-hour Twitter spaces are buzzing with content, and each side is pulling historical grievances out like ammunition. Some of the exchanges are lighthearted roasting. Others, they're crossing into territory that risks deepening real-world divisions. And as always, the algorithms love it. Every spicy post gets more reach, more engagement, and more fuel for the fire.
Africans do not like Black Americans. So this is a fact.
No, it's an opinion, and a very asinine one at that. Because Africa is a continent with 54 countries and over 1.2 billion people. A statement such as Africans don't like African Americans is a very ludicrous statement because one, is perpetuating this narrative that there is beef and animosity between Africans and African Americans. And two, what that is doing is it's generalizing an entire continent based off of the actions of a couple of African hairdressers who live in America. And this is coming from someone who has traveled to 4 out of 54 of the African countries. Okay, so I went to Tanzania and I was treated like royalty. People were bowing at my feet. I felt like I was some type of long lost queen who had finally returned to the land. Let's talk about Ghana. Ghana was one of the most beautiful countries that I ever visited. I had a family who opened up their home to me. They were feeding me 3 times a day. We were living by the beach. They were doing so much to just make me feel welcomed and loved. So this is for all of my African American people. Go to Africa. Go to the different countries that are there. Learn some of the languages. Learn some of the cultures there, because this is the thing. There are more similarities than differences between Africans and African Americans. And we need to kill this narrative. We need to break the plane and start the conversation so that we can get to know each other and enjoy the beautiful continent that we call the motherland, Africa, Azania. Okay? Peace and blessings, y'all.
Learn when to shut the fuck up sometimes. Stop falling for the trap. The African versus Black American beef is fake and it's funded and it's nowhere in real life. What's actually happening is we're being attacked by white people, white supremacists that run the state. We are being attacked by the American government. We're being attacked by European nations, and we're being divided by the people they're paying online. A lot of them look like us, sellout ass Negroes that are getting online and telling us that our beef is with other people that look like us and other people of color that may not look like us but are not white. And they are selling us this so that we will not rise up against the mayonnaise Martians who actually enslaved us, who actually mass incarcerate us, who actually are pushing us out of jobs, who actually are taking our opportunities, who actually are colonizing black nations. The sellouts and the raccoons of social media are trying to sell us propaganda that we should be fighting other marginalized groups of people instead of fighting the people who are actually fighting us. And it's cowardly and it's bitch made. And we need to stop doing that. Well, we don't speak French. Y'all need to stop doing that because y'all look like hoes. They are paying social media creators to make a fake diaspora war online because the motherfuckers bored. They ain't got no life or no real careers and they ain't got shit else to do. White supremacists love this. Why? Because while we're fighting online, the real attacks keep coming in real life. Government policies pushing us out of our own neighborhoods that black people have been in historically in the U.S. Government sanctions choking African nations. Police unaliving us in the streets here in the U.S. and abroad in other countries. It is divide and distract, and it's working. They don't want black Americans linking arms with black Africans. They don't want the diaspora united. They don't want us to have a swimming pool bigger than Kanye because a united global black movement could challenge the systems that are crushing all of us. From Washington to London to Johannesburg. So the next time you see Africans versus black Americans content and videos, ask yourself, who profits from this? Always remember, we are one people with one history and one struggle. Unite, resist, build, Black August, global black power, Pan-African unity. Y'all be cool.
I remember that too. Oh my God. On movies. On TV shows. You know, in the late 1960s and early 1970s, there was an out of Africa movement. And coincidentally, around the same time, there was a burst of new black artists in the movie scenes, on the music circuit that promoted these same values. Is it a coincidence? You know, I know, everyone knows that the way that black people are portrayed in the media was controlled by the oppressors. The oppressors told black people what they were. And let me help you put it into perspective, because we're going to use Shakespeare. This they man's. We're going to use Shakespeare. Shakespeare said two things that are very important to the colonizers. One, the whole world is a stage. They showing you that in real time. Two, the pen is mightier than the sword. Has been proven, because here we are.
Now, here's the thing. What we're watching isn't just some random social media beef. This is a revealing moment in the story of the African diaspora. It shows how much identity, culture, and history matter when we talk about unity. It forces us to ask, can a shared skin color alone build a solid bridge between people who've lived such different realities? Or do those differences inevitably create fault lines? If we're not careful, these online battles can turn into long-term mistrust. And the people who benefit the most from that division, they're not on either side of this debate. They're the ones who profit when black communities around the world are too busy arguing with each other to unite on issues like justice, wealth building, and global representation. So as you watch these clips and scroll through those threads, remember, words have power. What we say online can either reinforce walls or help break them down. And history has shown, time and again, that when the diaspora stands together, it's a force that's hard to stop. But when it's fractured, that's when outside forces step in and take advantage. A massive thank you once again to the video creators, commentators, and meme artists who are documenting this moment. You're not just making content, you're archiving culture, you're keeping receipts, and you're making sure that future generations can look back and see exactly how these conversations unfolded. This is one story that's still developing, and we'll be keeping our eyes on it. So if you got clips, screenshots, or even your own take on this FBA versus African debate, drop them in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going, respectfully, thoughtfully, and with an awareness of the bigger picture. And as always, thank you for being here, for thinking critically, and for refusing to just accept the narrative as it's fed to you. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay powerful.